Hi, I'm Oliver, and this is D-Talks. Today we're going to be talking to Tony Elkington from Studio Elk. Tony, could you introduce yourself and your practice, please?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Tony. I head up Studio Elk. We're a sustainable industrial design agency, and we basically help brands figure out how they can go beyond superficial sustainability and achieve sort of meaningful and measurable impact reductions.
So I guess the first question is, what do you value about design declares?
Good question. So I think firstly it's community. I think it's a really great community that brings together people from across design. It's cross-disciplinary. I think that's really important. Firstly, when you're working on a challenge this difficult, it helps to have people that share the same values as you and on the same journey as you, and that's really important to stay inspired and keep pushing forwards. I think also the multidisciplinary approach is really important because all the challenges that we're facing are going to need to be addressed in that way. So it brings together people who could collaborate and address some of these problems collectively. I think the events that I've been to have been really inspiring, really informative. It helps to learn the new skills and approaches that we need then kind of addressing the climate crisis. The resources that they've pulled together have been really helpful in sort of giving practical guidance on how we can design things differently. It's kind of pulled together a lot of helpful people and things that can equip designers to address the climate crisis.
So what's been the impact of declaring a climate and ecological crisis on your practice?
So I think I started Studio Elk really with that in mind. It was always something that I wanted to spend my time and energy and talents working towards. And so I think if anything, it's been a natural fit with what I'm trying to do anyway. It's been a long journey to get to this point, and we're now in a position where we're exclusively doing work on projects that have sustainability, within the brief to some degree. I think Design Declares has really been more of a reaffirmation, I suppose, of what we stand for, and has helped us to externally communicate our commitment to this cause.
Then leading on from that, what motivates you personally to design for sustainability and positive social and environmental impact?
Well, I think the climate and ecological crisis that we face is sort of the defining challenge of our time. Whether or not you believe it's a sort of existential threat to us all, it's regardless, it's going to change the way that all of us live. It's going to be life or death, already is life or death for a lot of people around the world. And so if as a designer you're looking for a purpose, that it's quite a strong, fulfilling challenge to be working towards and trying to help address. I think a lot of designers feel a responsibility for the things that they bring into the world. I think having a cause like this to sort of rally behind and feel like you're making a positive difference rather than driving the systems that have kind of got us into this mess is a really great way to be spending your, the many hours that you spend at work, feeling like you're doing something worthwhile, I suppose.
Leading on from your personal motivations, are you working on anything at the minute in your practice that sort of relates to Design Declares and that whole movement?
Yeah, so as I said, we're now in a position where we basically don't take on any projects that don't relate to sustainability in some way, and sometimes that involves having a conversation with the client at the beginning of a project to get the brief into a position that we're happy to work on. But we've been developing our internal processes actively over the last couple of years to sort of better address the challenges that brands are facing when they're on their sustainability journey. So the core of what we do is, product development. We're designing physical products, and we're doing that to sort of deliver low carbon designs with that sort of fit into a circular economy and circular business models. So we're sort of seeing the products as an enabler for the future systems that we need to design for. And then the other piece that we're working very actively on is we've recently launched a sustainability strategy sort of sprint project that basically aims to help brands understand the impact of their existing products and then figure out where they should be focusing their efforts to kind of maximize the impact reductions and basically create a roadmap for where they could be going in the future so that they can have a clear direction for their next steps. So we're doing a lot of work on that kind of strategy piece at the moment, which is yeah, really, the demand for it is increasing. There's real appetite for it, and I think a lot of businesses are recognizing that they can't keep kicking the can down the road, and they need to figure out what sustainability means for them.
You said that you've now got to the point of where you just want to focus on sustainability, and you're designing and accepting helping clients accept those briefs or create those briefs that are focused more towards sustainability. How have you found communicating that value and the impact of designing for sustainability to your clients?
Yeah, so I think a lot of our clients are initially very focused on sustainability as a risk mitigation sort of exercise. I think that pressure comes from changes in regulation, particularly in the EU. It comes from customers and shifts in the market and potentially not being as competitive if they don't start doing something about it. And yeah, they're kind of seeing it as I guess if the stick rather than the carrot. They want to prevent the downsides of not keeping up. And so we definitely utilize that in communicating our value. I think it is an important factor of why brands should embrace sustainability. But a big part of our job is also educating them as to the many opportunities that are available to businesses if they take a more proactive approach, whether that's from new revenue streams or cost savings or stronger customer relationships or winning market share by sort of building a reputation as a sustainability leader. So I think we look at the risks that they can overcome and we look at the opportunities on offer. So that's sort of explaining the value of sustainability to our clients as a whole. In terms of explaining our value as an agency and the value that we can deliver to them, I think the more that we figure out and focus on designing for measurable impact reduction, I think that becomes a lot easier then for us to communicate that value, because we can say, we reduced the carbon footprint by X%, or we reduced the waste that they generated, or unlocked a new revenue stream. And as soon as you can start talking in the terminology and the KPIs that business decision makers really care about, then you can more clearly demonstrate the value that a service like ours can offer.
So then, are you now working towards a specific act from the 8 design declares act that we have?
I wouldn't say our work is sort of structured within the act, but I think looking at the acts, I'd say probably our focus at the moment is on Act 4, which is measure what you make. And basically, I think this is it's valuable to us to make sure that we're having the positive impact that we want to have. But it's also really valuable to our clients who want to quantify the impact of the products that we develop for them, and use that data to back up their green marketing claims. I think as part of that, we've been looking for the tools that allow us to do it, which has led to me personally being heavily involved in developing tools that aim to put these lifecycle assessment tools and put this environmental data in the hands of designers during the design process, when decisions can be made based on that data, and at the point in the product's development where you can actually have real impact. And so I think that stemmed from us needing those tools ourselves, but in looking for those, we've actually become very involved in trying to shape what those tools are and try and put those in the hands of other designers as well, which I think relates to another act. Was one about educate and accelerate, which I think we've started to do more of, because we're now sort of more outwardly advocating for these new processes and the change in how designers approach design, really.
With the acts, then, what has been the easiest one to get started with, and which one's proving the most challenging?
Act 1, which is sound the alarm, is the easiest, because you can kind of start that from day one. You don't need to have done anything to start talking about the urgency of the climate crisis and that we need to act now. I think what's key to this one is actually seeing it as an ongoing thing rather than a one-off declaration. And so that's the piece that we've been trying to do more regularly, is use our voice and our external stance as a platform to kind of share that on a regular basis rather than as a one-off. So I'd say that's the easiest, just because low barrier to entry. In terms of the most challenging, I'd probably say is it Act 7, Design for Justice. it's something that I'd like to do a lot more. This one basically aims to design with and for the people that are disproportionately affected by climate change and by the transitions that we need to make. I think this one is difficult to get into because, the inequality that causes that to be a problem is also, potentially a barrier for funding or opportunities to work in those spaces. So it's something that I would like to do more. I'm keen to build relationships with, charities or NGOs or local governments to kind of get more into that space. But it's definitely something that we've struggled to find the opportunities to work on. Yeah.
Then I guess the last question then is what would you like to see more from Design Declares, and by extension, the design sector and the community as well?
I think at the moment, Design Declares is a really great signal of intent. I think it, is a good way for businesses to sort of say that they care about this and want to make a commitment to it. But I suspect that, the businesses that are genuinely committed to designing for climate are maybe doing that anyway. And then there will be many businesses that have signed the declaration, but potentially carrying on with business as usual, regardless. So I think there's an opportunity for Design Declares to become more of a platform for sharing progress, supporting each other, and effectively holding each other accountable a little bit. Because I think the more that you see how other people are making progress and achieving results, I think it makes it easier to see where your next steps are and how you can make progress yourself.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for having a chat with us, and we look forward to seeing more of the work in the future.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much.